Good day and welcome. My name is Reggiano76, and today I've got a story time for you where this kid peed himself on a trip and tried to make people sleep in his bed. So let's get on with it. So basically, I'm not sure if this is just a thing my school did or if this is a British thing, but we did these residential trips in year 4 and year 6, so grade 3 and grade 5. And these would be 3 or 4 day long trips where you go to this place and study animals and do stuff. So we went on this trip, and this child, I'm gonna call him Jared. Jared's a pretty good name. He was like he was really entitled and really annoying. He was like he thought he was cool with all the girls in the class, but he really wasn't. Nobody liked him, and he only went out with people with pity. And so yeah, we had Jared over here. He's not a cool dude. Nobody likes him. And in this year 3 resident, you can tell he's a really big idiot, annoyance, because he will steal everyone's girl. This kid gets a girl in the class, boom, he'd steal it. This kid gets a girl in the class, boom, he'd steal it. So yeah. So now this is a story from a while back. Back in grade 5 or year 6, and we're going on this residential trip. So we go here, and we go to this nature place, and we're staying in this massive house, and we get assigned rooms and people in this room, and it's 3 or 5 people to a room. And in our room, we got my best friend and 2 other people, and then me and Jared. And this room has like one singular bed and 2 bunk beds, I'm pretty sure. So 5 people could sleep in it. And basically, on the first night, one of the other people opts out. They decide, no, I don't want to do this anymore. They're the ones sleeping in the singular bed, because Jared has just been really annoying, and me and Jared had this agreement since we were sleeping on the same bunk. Right, I'll have to. I would have the 2 first nights on the top bunk, and Jared would have the 2 second nights on the top bunk, and I would sleep on the bottom bunk. So we have this agreement, and all is dandy for the first 2 nights. And then we wake up in the morning of the second night, bearing in mind the next night I'm gonna have to sleep in the bottom bunk. And also, we didn't have enough time for showers, and there wasn't enough time for the water bill. So we would have a shower routine. So my best friend goes into the showers, and what does he see? A bunch, a pair of underpants, or not underpants, pajama pants, and they're soaking wet and stinky, and the entire bathroom stinks and is just covered in just wet, and which we later find out to be pee. So he goes up to us and confronts us, and then all of a sudden he smells something coming from underneath my bunk where Jared is sleeping, and he opens it up and he sees Jared sleeping in a pile of his own pee. This kid has just peed himself and then chucked his pajamas around the bathroom. On the very same night, that the next night I have to sleep in it. So of course we tell the teacher or the people authorizing these trips, because our main teacher wasn't there. So we tell the people authorizing these trips, and they're just like, right, these people were really, I don't know what they were doing. So we tell these people about it, and they're just like, we'll sort this out later. Go to the classroom, because they had this classroom next to the house where we would write stuff down about the newts that we've examined and stuff. So we pack our lunch. We go down the stairs. We pack our lunches in this makeshift kitchen which they had, and we go to like the sort of classroom with the rest of the class. And at this point, the entire class knows. Jared is denying it, but the entire class knows. The entire class can smell its piss. And I just say to him, I'm not going to sleep on the bottom bunk. I'm not going to sleep on the same bunk which you pissed in. Then he starts getting mad because of the agreement that we had. But there was nothing in the agreement which stated that he's allowed to piss in the bed before I have to go in it. So we spend the rest of the day doing it, and we get back to the house. bearing in mind, and then it's time for sleeping arrangements. We start, and I asked the teacher. Jared is still forcing me to, or trying to force me, that I need to sleep on the bottom bunk. And I asked the teacher what they've done to it, because obviously they've changed the sheets and everything. And they said if they've gotten a new mattress, and I asked them if they've gotten a new mattress or not, and they say these exact words: "No, we just flipped it over." Bearing in mind, it still smells of pee, and just the bathroom still stinks. They haven't sorted that out yet. They've just flipped the mattress over. At that point, the pee's already sank down to the bottom bit, so the entire mattress is just pee ridden. So I'm like, no, I'm not sleeping in this, and I end up going on the same bunk as my best friend. But then the other person in that room decides to also just opt out. They decide, nope, we're gonna sleep in the other room. Nothing is worth this. And now we've got there's too many people in one room. So Jared is going around trying to find people to sleep in his pee bed, basically. Uh, and also we're trying to find another person who is willingly going to sleep with Jared. Bearing in mind, this is out of the boys. The girls aren't going to come. I doubt they would even want to come, and they're not even allowed to, and they have to stay on the bottom floor because all the boys are sleeping on the top floor. So we spend the entire night just looking for someone, and it ends up that the other two people just sleep in the teacher's room or the supervisor's room, and the supervisors end up having to sleep in it on the first night. But then they say on the very last night you're gonna have to find a student to sleep in it. So this kid starts trying to pay people to sleep in it because we got given makeshift money to like spend on sandwiches there for our lunches and treats there for our lunches, and we'll get them during lessons. We got a little bit at the start, and he tries to buy people into sleeping in his piss bed. None of this is working. This kid is just making fun. Bearing in mind, he's also making fun of people if they're not going to sleep in it. He's calling people. He's saying that people are cats, just by and scaredy cats by not wanting to sleep in his pee bed. He's making fun of them, which isn't helping his case. Because if you want someone to sleep in your pee bed and not complain about it, then you're gonna have to be nice to them. So this kid's just not being nice to anybody, and is trying to pay them to sleep in his pee bed. None of this is still working, and it gets to sleeping time again, and we still haven't found a person to sleep in the bed, and the room's still overcrowded. At this point, nobody knows what to do. But then the teachers start trying to force people into doing it, into sleeping in this piss bed, in this pee bed. And the supervisors had had enough and had decided, instead of sleeping in it again, which they did last time, they've already done it once. Why not do it again? Instead, they have decided to sleep in it. They've decided to force people to sleep in it. Not so at this point they're going round and round to room and to room, asking whoever if anybody's just willing to sleep with Jared, and whoever is, they'll be like, okay, but you have to sleep in the pee bed. They didn't say that first. They're just like, oh, does anybody mind if they sleep with Jared just for tonight? And then they try to force these students into sleeping in the pee bed because they had already gotten someone to sleep with Jared. They sleep in the same room as Jared, just not anybody to sleep in the pee bed. So now the students are complaining to them, the teachers have got involved, and now the parents as well. The parents are mad and they're starting to pick up students. Luckily, are starting to pick up students, and the teachers are mad because these supervisors have no idea what they're doing and are handling this the wrong way. So eventually, the parents pick up enough students where it's like, okay, we don't have to force students to sleep in there anymore. There's enough spaces in each room now for where these students can just sleep there. But a bunch of students ended up missing out on the rest of their trip, which is basically just like half a day and then a bus trip home. But they ended up missing out just because this kid wanted to force them to sleep in his pee bed instead of sleeping in it himself. And he only got reprimanded as soon as we got to school. Throughout this entire trip, he insulted people and peed in the bed and didn't bother to sleep in it himself. And didn't get told off at all. Instead, it was the other people who didn't want to sleep in the bed. They got told off and they got punished until we got to school when, luckily, he got punished. So yeah, that was the story of how this kid peed in a bed, and decided to make everybody try and sleep with it and force everybody to try and sleep in it. So if you like that story, let me know in the comments section down below. And yeah, let me know if you want more. And I have more, even crazier stories about this kid. But I just think this is just the cherry on top. There are way more layers to this, and there are way more even worse kids as well. So yeah, all I can say now is please just like and subscribe if you like the video, and yeah, comment for more.